violent inmates, but come home and be shot down by overzealous officers. That must stop, and it must stop now. I am calling on all my brothers and sisters and the veterans, all my fellow veterans, to stand up and speak out, because enough is enough. This should never have happened to somebody who medical alarm accidentally went off, and next thing you know, he's in a body bag. It's got to stop. So I'm asking all my fellow veterans to stand up, join us, and speak out, because justice needs to be heard. Thank you.
Next we have Darren Green. He's representing the Long Island chapter of Blacks in Law Enforcement of America.
Good morning. We stand here in solidarity, speaking on behalf of the Chamberlain family, in full support. Some of the things that are very interesting that we realize about this case is that calling on the district attorney to prosecute this as a hate crime. The hate crime of 2000 of New York State, that it was clearly done in 2000, clearly states that in the commission of a crime, if a racial epithet is spewed prior to the crime being committed, that it is labeled as a hate crime. So for law enforcement themselves to act in this manner, when they are responding to a situation that did not justify the use of force, and force is now being used before force is used, and you have the audacity to yell out racial epithets, shame on you. Shame on you. So we're now saying that in the process of moving forward, the hate crime of New York State must be enacted. It must be enacted, because we need to make sure that it sends a clear message, not only for those civilians, but those police officers who are willing to violate the law of New York State. That if you are willing to do that, even though that you have on a uniform, that you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law under the Hate Crime Act. We will not tolerate hate. We've come too far and too long for us to stand and deal with these issues continuously. So I say to the district attorney's office, I say to the county executive, that it is time for you to take a stand today to make known that you are going to stand on the side of righteousness and justice as you have taken the oath to uphold your offices. And we are going to hold you accountable for doing such things. Thank you.
And next we have Robert Hood, who is the Northeast Region President of the National Black Police Association.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Robert T. Hood. I'm the Northeast Region President of the National Black Police Association. I stand here in solidarity with my brothers to stand as one about this tragedy that has occurred to Mr. Chamberlain. First and foremost, I would like to say that the tragedy goes beyond what happened to Mr. Chamberlain. The true tragedy is what happens is that Mr. Chamberlain's 14th Amendment right was violated. As we can say, Mr. Chamberlain, being a veteran, a police officer, a correction officer who stood 20 years in the protection of the community, guarding the evil of tyranny of evil men, in his twilight years, depended on others for his survival and good health. His alarm went off, indicating that there may be a problem. The men and the women that he depended on for his quality of life became the executors and extinguishers of the life that he had. Not only is this a tragedy that the man's golden years was extinguished as for such long service as a taxpayer, as a good citizen, but the tragedy is that the community of Westchester, by not indicting these individuals, sent out the message that they condone the inappropriate conduct of police officers who have taken an oath to serve and protect not just a few, but for all. And this is a tragedy. And it becomes obvious that the Westchester County Police Department and the White Plains Police Department cannot police themselves. And a monitoring system needs to be put in place And we, as the National Black Police Association, Northeast Region, will support any legislation that will monitor the inappropriate, unprofessional behavior of police officers not only in White Plains and Westchester County, but in the state of New York. Thank you.
It's something that we have to get clear as black law enforcement. When there are injustices in the black community, there's only 3 degrees of separation from black law enforcement and those injustices. Either we know the victim, we know somebody that knows the victim, or the victim is a family member. So it's incumbent on us to speak out. It's incumbent on us to say something. As a Westchester representative, we have sat down with all elected officials and discussed this ever since the Department of Justice came into Yonkers Police Department for civil and human rights violations. And they have done nothing. And I say again, if Barack Obama, the President of the United States, can put himself in Trayvon Martin's family position and feel their pain, where is our elected officials feeling our pain? And especially the black elected officials that we faithfully, every election, vote for them. So we're going to have to reevaluate our relationship with them. We're going to have to sit down and talk to them because we need a good record on them to address these situations, to address everything that's going on in Westchester and put some type of mechanism in place to look at the policies and procedures of the 43 municipalities in Westchester County. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, we'll be glad to ask. Yes, we have. And a matter of fact, before the Ridley shooting, we went down to Washington, D.C. and actually met with the Department of Justice and brought cases down there. And we explained that something needs to be done, but the problem is that the Department of Justice looks for pattern and practices. But we're trying to tell them the pattern is throughout Westchester because all the police officers are trained by Westchester County. Their initial training is through Westchester County Public Safety, and then they're sent to the 43 municipalities. So we're saying that you have to start at Westchester County and then work your way down to the 43 municipalities. The technical letter that the Department of Justice gave the Yonkers Police Department is a reflection on the rest of the police departments. You cannot tell me that the 3rd largest city in New York, they didn't have a continuum of force, and their use of force policies was over 3 decades old. That is a reflection on the rest of the police departments because there's no oversight. There's nobody checking to make sure their policies and procedures are up to date. Yes.
Mr. Jones, what is the oversight that is being recommended?
The oversight on the county level is civilian oversight, and that the complaints will go through the civilian oversight, and then they will send it to the 43 municipalities, so it'll be oversight on the investigations. It's similar to a local civilian complaint, but they need to have the power to enact all the 43 municipalities, and that has to be done with legislation. Yes, we have. When the county exec was first elected, and we supported him. We met with him along with members of the NAACP, and we laid out the Department of Justice report at the county jail, the Department of Justice report of Yonkers Police Department, and we haven't heard anything. And after that, it was the Kenny Casado incident, the Dan Roy Henry incident, and now the Chamberlain incident, and still no word from our county executive or no word from not one legislative body. Yes, we are. We're working on a petition for state and local, and we're gonna present that petition at a legislative board meeting in the future, and we're gonna call on them to enact some type of civilian oversight and create some type of legislation so they can monitor the policies and procedures and the training of the police officers in the 43 municipalities and including county police. Any other questions? That's it. Thank you very much.